Good morning. Today is Monday, November 25th, 2024. The central event of this week's Torah portion, the Parsha of Toldos, is that Yitzchak gives a bracha to his son. Of course, he intends to give this bracha to Eisav, who's technically the firstborn. Turns out that he gives it to Yaakov. That's a complicated story. We've discussed that before, and we're going to leave that to the side for today. I want to focus this morning on the actual bracha, the actual blessing that Yitzchak gives. The Torah says, "V'lo hikiro, ki hayu yadav kidei Eisav achiv sa'aros." Yaakov, who did not have physical sight, he did not recognize that the young man in front of him was not Eisav, but in fact was Yaakov. Vayavarachehu, and he blessed him. Vayigash vayishak lo, the boy, meaning we know it's Yaakov, approached and kissed his father. Vayarach es reach begadav, and Yitzchak smelled the pleasant odor, the pleasant smell of Yaakov's clothing. Vayavarchehu, and Yitzchak blessed him. Vayomer, and he said, Re'ei reach bani, behold the scent of my son, Kareach sadeh asher berchu Hashem. It's like the scent of the field that was blessed by God. V'yitein lechahu Elokim, and may God grant you mital hashamayim u'mishmanei haaretz, from the dew of the heavens and from the fertile crops of the land. V'rov dagon v'sirosh, much grain and wine. You should be successful and you should have more than enough for yourself. That's the bracha. A beautiful bracha. Again, leaving aside the controversy of who he gave it to and why it was Yaakov, let's leave that aside, but let's just focus on the bracha. It's a beautiful bracha. But there is something very, very strange about this bracha. Now, every Shabbos, when we read the Torah in the synagogue on Shabbos morning, we divide the Torah reading into 7 portions. 7 aliyos. A person is called up to the Torah, and then a section is read, 7 portions, and together that makes up the entire Torah portion. So the Parsha of Toldos is divided into 7 sections. Now we have some rules about how we make these divisions. First of all, each aliyah must be at least 3 psukim, 3 verses. It can't be shorter than 3 verses. And then we try to divide the 7 sections thematically, so that each one tells a story or covers a subject. We try not to begin or end an aliyah with something bad happening. And we try, as much as possible, not to cut stories in half or subjects in half. We try to cover them in one shot. So there's something very, very strange about the way the Torah is divided into 7 in this week's Torah portion. Because the 5th aliyah contains the first verse of the blessing, and then the 6th aliyah contains the second verse of the blessing. Again, the bracha that Yitzchak gives has 2 parts. Pasuk number 27 and pasuk number 28. I would have imagined that the entire blessing would be in one aliyah. It's one blessing. Put it in one aliyah. But in fact, It's divided right in the middle. Pasuk 27 is in Chamishi, the fifth aliyah, the last line of the fifth aliyah. And Shishi, the sixth aliyah, starts, V'yitin l'cha Elokim. God should give you great abundance and crops and stuff like that. Strange. I mean, it's not prohibited, but it's unusual that we would divide the 7 sections like this. So I want to share with you an approach from Rabbi Yaakov Neuberger that contains, I think, a very, very important lesson, and it's a practical lesson that applies to us as well. There are 2 kinds of blessings you can give to a person. You can bless a person that they should have something new. I bless you that you should have good health. I bless you that you should find your mate. I bless you that you should have plenty to live on. I want you to have something that you do not have currently. That's a very nice bracha. But there's also the kind of a blessing where I bless you that you should be aware of what you already have. You should be aware of the strengths and potential that you already have. And this is so important because very often in life, we see a person and we, as an outsider, we can tell that that person has certain strengths, certain abilities, certain potentials, and they don't make use of it. They don't seem to be aware. And it's as if it goes to waste. It's a shame. And then on the other hand, we see other people who do have this awareness, who recognize, I have a certain skill and I'm going to use it. I have a certain ability and I'm going to use it in a good way. And that's a beautiful thing to see, because not everybody has everything. Not everybody has every skill or potential or strength or ability. For a person to be able to recognize, this is what I have, and I'm going to make the most of it, that's a beautiful thing to see in a person. Yitzchak gives his son a blessing in 2 parts. The second part of the blessing, V'yiten l'cha mital hashamayim v'mishmanei haaretz rav dagam v'sirosh. He says to his son, God should give you plenty, you should have enough, you should be successful, you should do well in life. That's a great bracha. That is a very, very valuable blessing. But first, Yitzchak gives a different blessing. The first part of the blessing. He says, Re'eh b'ni, see my son, recognize within you that you already have something very, very valuable. Reach b'ni k'reach sadeh asher baruchu Hashem. You have within you already the blessing of the fragrance of the field that is blessed by God. Our sages explain that means Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. You're connected to the Garden of Eden, he says. You have a connection to spirituality. You have a connection to God. It's there already. Recognize how powerful this already is in you and make use of it. Live up to it. Use it to build on, because it is your greatest strength. The blessing of the second part, V'yitin l'cha, to give his son what he wants him to have, is very important. But it could be that the first part of the blessing is even more important. To be aware of the gift that you have, to be aware of the strength that you have, and to work on building on that. And it could be, suggests Rabbi Neuberger, that that's why our tradition divides it right there. Because our tradition wants us to focus. The first line Yaakov is saying, firstly, I'm not giving you anything. Firstly, I want to make you aware of what you have, so that you'll live up to it, so you'll recognize that you have it, so you will see this great gift that you already have. And now let's pause for a second. Now, okay, yes, I do want to give you something that you do not yet have. Great wealth and great abundance and great success. Yes, I want you to have all that. But we separate them with a pause between the fifth aliyah and the sixth aliyah in order to focus on the difference between the two and to recognize how important the second one is, but perhaps how even more important the first one is. Rabbi Neuberger writes, Yitzchak wants to make sure that his son realizes these strengths and aspires to great heights to which they can breathe. If one indeed catches the fragrance of the Garden of Eden in one's garments, is there any limit to where bestowed blessings will take him? And this needs to be true for us as well. When we bless someone, especially when we bless our children, our grandchildren, every blessing we give, we should want to bless our children, our grandchildren, others who ask, to bless them that they should have what they do not have. But first, let's make sure that we are also blessing them to realize the greatness they do have, the good qualities they do have, the strengths that are uniquely theirs, and to hope that they will build on that. My friends, I wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.